Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Brooks. At this time, we will move forward with tonight's agenda. There are 2 items being pulled from the consent agenda. Sorry if this seems to be a little feedback. I apologize for that. Item number 1 that will be pulled is item 9C, Student Services Action Item. And this is the approval of the attached score agreement for college and career readiness, grades 9 through 12, in the amount of $16,160. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Sorry, Robert's Rules of Orders are awkward, so there's always 1 or 2 of us that get confused about this process. So don't worry, there's going to be discussion. Do I have it a second?
Second.
Great. Now, once we get to approve and to a second, then is when, in Robert's Rules of Order, we do a discussion. So, are there any board members that would like to have a discussion on this? Abby?
Hi, thank you. Excuse me. I'm using my computer because I wasn't able to write all of my thoughts out. I'm not so good yet. It's been a long time. I had asked to pull this agenda item because I had voted no back in March when it was presented on the curriculum at the curriculum committee, and I continue to hold the position. And I've been asked why I voted no, and I'd like to kind of give that information now. I don't see that this contract is going to have a much different or more meaningful impact than Naviance's, which is what we currently use. Excuse me. Also, the fact that this is intended to have sort of a social media feel, where students are given the opportunity to express likes for their college applications and college admissions, and I think that sort of goes counter to what we're hoping to do with our digital balance that we continue to talk about wanting to foster. And additionally, as far as I understand, the way that this works is that colleges have to pay for promotion, which limits what options our students have. So currently, Naviance has basically access to all of the colleges that are out there. This SCORE program or product is a kind of a pay for play. So if a college doesn't pay to be promoted, then our students don't have that access. So it sort of limits our students based on the marketing budgets of the colleges as opposed to the expert guidance of our counselors. So I also wanted to clarify, this contract did not make it through committee and curriculum in March. It was not on the March business agenda, it was not on the April curriculum or business agenda, and it showed up on the May facilities agenda. It also did not make it through facilities, and it's here. And I'm sort of presenting this as, you know, if the board committees don't vote to advance something and it gets through and it continues to come up, I'd like some clarity on how.
Okay, let me give you clarity on how the board works, and this is pretty 101. So objects that go to the board first start in committee, and it's very important for the entire board to have an open and public discussion in committee. And many of you have been in our committee meetings, and that's the best time to do it. That's the work of the board. I say that over and over again. That's when we can talk to each other. And so it is very important for board members not just to say no to a vote, but to express their questions, concerns, and share why they might be voting no at those moments. Not just for each other and not just for the community, but also for the administration, so they can go back and do their homework, do more work, do research, and come back again. But just because an item isn't moved through committee with enough votes does not mean it doesn't continue to move forward. It just will not be in a level of the board to be in consent agenda. That is it. Now, items can go through one committee. We like them to go through 2 committees because it just feels better, like a little bit of checks and balances. And this item did go through 2 committees. It went through curriculum, and it did go through facilities. I know Jason Herman was not able to view the curriculum committee video to be able to comfortably vote on it, but it, in both committees, had 2 members of it. Now, Kimberly Frazier, do you mind if I ask you just a couple clarifying questions? Because I heard a couple things from board member Rubin there that were not exactly what I heard the staff present in the curriculum meeting. And I'd love for you to clarify some of the kind of the process and the terms and why the school district puts SCORE in front of the school district to be a vote.
Yeah, thank you. There were several different reasons why this is being recommended. First of all, we talk a lot about finances right now. It is a reduced cost to the district over time. It'll be about 50% of the cost of Naviance, performing the same function in terms of college and career readiness. The district is required from the Pennsylvania Department of Education to K through 12 do college and career readiness activities. SCORES serves the same purpose as what Naviance has in the past. The experience with Naviance, unfortunately, has been that it is a little bit antiquated, and there is an aspect to it of what students find engaging, what students are familiar with. But in addition to that, there are functionalities to this in terms of parent engagement with the system, in terms of educator and counselor engagement with the system that make it a more streamlined process. For any families who have gone through the college application process, it can be quite overwhelming and hard. I see heads shaking. It can be quite overwhelming. And so to be able to find a system that not only engages our students, but also supports what our families and our counselors need, I think is critically important. We also talk a lot about data privacy. For those also that have seen, Naviance had some concerns with data leakage, whereas SCORE has made a public commitment to not selling student data. And so those are important components that we have to consider as we're looking through that. Another, important piece that we're looking at is alignment. Again, we're under the direction of the Pennsylvania Department of Education, and really making sure that what we're doing is aligning with those career and college standards.
One last thing, Abby, you had asked about the pay to play. If a college doesn't pay, then they don't have access to our kids. Well, that wasn't what we understood at the meeting, and I watched the meeting a couple of times. Dr. Graziosi-Hips really spoke about that. If the college doesn't pay for SCORE, or to be on SCORE, there is not a direct application that you could file as a student who wanted to apply there, but they still take the Common App and they still show up on SCORE. They just don't have that facility to be able to just apply without the Common App through that.
I appreciate the clarifications, and thank you. And respectfully, I would like to...
Just one thing, sorry. Let's do the around the table, like our role is that everybody gets to talk once before somebody talks twice. I wasn't sure if either of the co-chairs, Jen or Shayna, wanted to chime in since this was on your committee.
Yes, so I was there with the rest of the curriculum committee and frankly thought that the presentation was incredibly thorough, incredibly detailed, and incredibly convincing. I saw no problem with this and was frankly not only surprised, I was pretty upset that you decided to vote no with absolutely no explanation right at the end of it for a program that was serving the needs of our district, was incredibly well researched and proposed by our administrators whose job and whose expertise it is to do this particular thing. And I also wanted to add that I believe Dr. Graziosi-Hips said that about 80% of school districts in this state have either moved or are currently moving to SCORE because it is aligned with the Pennsylvania state standards in a way that Naviance isn't, and that Dr. Anelli has previous experience making that transition with his district in his previous district. It seems like a really high quality product that does the same thing as Naviance, but better, more successfully, giving more of a look and involvement to our parents. We just sat here for hours listening to our families talk about how they want more access and more insight into what their kids are doing, and this has a much greater parent interaction level and oversight level on what's going on here. It saves our district money every year. We need every dollar. And Also, Naviance is part of a class action lawsuit right now, and so I am very eager to not continue to support them. I would urge the rest of the board to vote in favor of this contract.
Thank you, Shana. Co-chair on curriculum with Shana, and I just want to echo, but for the sake of time, one, very concerning is that Naviance, we have heard from parents today, concerned with data privacy. Naviance is, like Shana says, going through a class action lawsuit. But more importantly, I've been able to talk to a number of parents in the school district. It's beyond helping a child with college and everything. It truly connects students, parents, and counselors on one platform where parents could follow up, communicate with their child's counselor, see their student's performance, and be able to support their child throughout the school. But also when you think about equity, we live in a privileged school district, but not everyone has access to the same resources, could afford for parents to take off of work to take them on college tours. This gives all of our students an opportunity to have access to resources, be on a platform where they could learn about colleges, apply, scholarships. So we have to also think of beyond that. Not all children in the school district are afforded the opportunities like other kids. So this platform is not only bringing families together across the district where parents can be more involved with their child's education, especially in higher grade level, but also to provide opportunity for students' growth and opportunities beyond the walls of Lower Merion High School when they graduate.
Thank you. Anybody that has not spoken on the board yet? Go ahead, Sarah.
It's a long table. Can't see everybody. I'm also a member of the curriculum committee who, like Abby, did not vote to move this contract forward at our March curriculum committee meeting and was asked to provide my reasoning and would like to do so as well. Based on the presentation at the March curriculum committee meeting, my professional knowledge of Naviance as a school counselor, and independent research I've conducted on SCORE, I'm not convinced SCORE represents a meaningful improvement over Naviance. It seems to provide the dopamine hits that were spoken about regarding technology through the use of social media type likes for colleges. With regard to the data breach concerns with Naviance, there was a major data breach with PowerSchool over a year ago, yet we still use this platform for our student information system. Curriculum Associates, the parent company of iReady, is currently the subject of a class action lawsuit, yet this board also recently approved this contract. I also have concerns with SCORE's business model. The platform offers colleges the option to outsource their presence to SCORE's client services team. Additionally, not all colleges on SCORE have equal access to students. Access is dependent on what level plan they purchase, rather than fit or merit, meaning our students are being meaningfully affected by a college's marketing budget. Our obligation is to always put our students' and families' needs first and foremost. I do not believe this change does that. For these reasons, I voted not to move this contract forward at the March curriculum meeting, and I plan to maintain my no vote on this contract tonight. Thank you.
I heard both Sarah, you, and Abby say that you were asked to provide reasoning, and I'm just not clear who asked you to provide those reasoning and why you continue to not use the structure of the committee meetings to productively work on the work of the committee and represent the board, particularly saying things like, I will reveal my no vote in the whole group board meeting and things like that. It derails the progress of the district by continuing to propagate your own personal agenda as well, needing to move the work of the board forward. So my concrete question is, who asked you to share tonight, because you didn't share in the 2 other times provided and in the general board meeting that was in between that we also discussed this contract. So 3 times now. So it seems like grandstanding.
Do you want to go?
Sure, I'm happy to respond, Anna. So I was asked by the curriculum committee co-chairs to explain our reasoning. The meeting was cut short. We were running close to time because we had a policy meeting after it, and we were asked to provide our explanation when this was brought up at the next meeting. This is the first meeting that this contract was brought up at since the March curriculum committee meeting.
I just want to be clear, I did not ask for that, but thank you.
Neither did I. We took this vote, the meeting ended, and we left. We didn't have a conversation after that.
Ms. Kalish, you did ask us, actually. The meeting was ended very abruptly, and you did, and I wanted to provide that information, and it did not come up on an agenda until facilities meeting.
However, 6 weeks later, you were in a
But this is the
facilities
first time
meeting.
it's up for a
Oh,
discussion.
no. 6 weeks later, you were in a facilities meeting where this same agenda item came up.
And I was
you
there.
And both Jennifer and Shanna were there, which you could have revealed
I mean, I
your
wasn't-
concern.
I-
6 weeks later, which would have been quite helpful to Board Member Herman, who shared with everyone that he was unable to witness the curriculum meeting because of the video restriction. So all of this, again, would have been so unbelievably helpful to our school district team, which is the role and the responsibility of the board to ask questions, to share information, and to do your homework before the community meetings and before the committee meetings, to come prepared, to ask questions, to be able to engage in a lively conversation, not in a business meeting, but in the work of the board. That is an ethical guideline of the PSBA standards that every single one of the board members that you are sitting in front of us swear an oath to do the work of the committee in members of four, not in other committees, but the committees you are assigned to, and to stay in that committee and do the work with your peers. That is the work of the board, not what you are seeing tonight. This is going, any more discussion, and then we're going to vote.
Respectfully, I'd like to respond to that. I'm not revealing anything. I was not keeping anything close to my chest. This is the first opportunity that we've had as a board to have this conversation. When it was in front of us in facilities, it was unexpected because it hadn't made it through curriculum. I didn't expect to see it there. I stated we would talk about it when it was up for a vote here because it didn't make it through in facilities. I'm not keeping anything secret. I felt it was a little bit strange that it went through without having the votes of the committee. And it begs the question what the votes of the board have. What value and what meaning do we have if our votes aren't being considered? So that's the only reason. You would ask for our justification. The meetings are very, very fast on Mondays because it's back to back. That's why.
Any other discussion?
I will say, just to reiterate, that when we vote in committee, it is not to approve or disapprove, it is to have the recommendation of the committee. So even if you have something that had 4 no votes from a committee, you could still see it on the business meeting. There may be further discussion on it, but that is the way this works and always works. And also, if we're discussing something at a meeting, it's on the agenda. If you're chairing a committee, you should know what's on the agenda before you go to the meeting.
And just to be clear,
There's no state law that says we have to have any committee for anything. And if we don't have to have the committee, we certainly don't have to have any votes on it. It's purely up to the discretion of the board president and internally how we want to make it work. We've broken it up this way to facilitate effective discussions, but there's no laws about this. Look, kids need this program to apply to college. You can apply to every single college in the country on SCORE. It's effective. The counselors can actually track which groups of kids are where in the process. They can see if there's groups that are falling behind and they can target them. It's an effective program. It's used all over the place. My brother uses it at his school in Connecticut. They moved to it years ago. There's no reason to block this. We're going to move this forward tonight. Let's go ahead and take a vote.
okay, let's do it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Opposed?
Abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you. Now, the following item, 14B, new business, has been pulled for discussion. This is the first reading. First readings do not get voted on by the board. So this is the policies for first readings. The policy is PXXX K-12 technology use, the new policy that we discussed in the policy meeting last Monday. P134 district provided technology resources for repeal. P137 district issues electronic devices, student use, rights and responsibilities for repeal. I'm opening this item for discussion at this time. There is no voting, so we can go straight to discussion. So who would like to begin the discussion? Abby, go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. I had just wanted to pull this to encourage that we do, in fact, pause. In the past, when I've been on the policy committee, we have sat in first read multiple meetings, and I felt that this one, as so many have said, much more eloquently than I will at this point in the night, there's no need to push this through to a second read. I think that we are still very much in the first draft stage, and as you had asked for some concrete feedback and concrete ideas, I think many people in this room have already provided. And I think we just need more input before we move forward. So I just wanted to pull that as a discussion.
Next.
I will just say, Abby, respectfully, again, while you are making these statements publicly, you personally have provided zero written feedback on it in writing of what you would suggest. I don't want to do a back and forth, but even sitting on the policy committee, I would expect that you would know that first read, second read, those go on, and things, that's a process of governance, which it seems unclear that you are understanding all of those pieces in your continued tenure on the board.
I respectfully, I hear you. I don't have any question. I don't have any unclarity. I understand how the process works. I am not on the policy committee. I've been asked not to come to meetings that I'm not on the committee for. And so this is an opportunity for me to share my feedback. I am doing that here. That's why we were elected as representatives of our community. I'm having a conversation here.
Would anybody else like to pose a comment or a question on this discussion? Go ahead, Sarah.
I just have a question as someone who's not a member of the policy committee and have not been a member of the policy committee, but tune into the policy meetings. And it does seem that in the past, there are policies that have stayed in first read for quite a few policy meetings before they move to second read. And I'm just wondering if someone from the committee, maybe one of the co-chairs, could explain the decision to not keep these policies in first read for longer and moving them through first read tonight with the intention, I guess, to move towards second read for the next month's policy meeting, if that could be explained a bit.
Happy to explain it, Sarah. To do work on policy, you have to move past the first read to a second read. So to incorporate the feedback of the community that's been being shared since the fall, that was shared in the March 23rd meeting, and also to codify the changes that the community is asking, moving the policy forward actually ensures that we are able to incorporate the feedback that we have been hearing from others. And so there is this language you're using that policies have sat in first read and not moved to second read. I'll be happy to have you spend your time and audit which policies that are, because it makes no material difference of where it's sitting in first or second read if we're committed to collaborating and working on it.
Any other discussions? Nope. This is a discussion of the board, sorry. We're in vote mode now. Doesn't work that way, sorry. Business board meetings are mostly for voting. Okay. We do not have to vote on this because it is not a voting agenda item for the board. It was just open for discussion for the board. Just a little clarifying comments that every board meeting, every board member is always encouraged to watch every single committee meeting and share with the board president, with the board vice president, and the committee co-chairs any questions, any concerns, and our superintendent, and any feedback they have about what's going on that committee. It is a transparent and open process. But we also, because of just having, I think, 6 weeks ago we had PSPA training. Dr. Rinelli, is that about right? 6 or 7 weeks ago, we just got a training from the intermediate unit, the same intermediate unit that has done so many of our trainings and so our work around our strategic plan and a lot of our work around finding Dr. Rinelli. Just did an intensive training and shared with us yet again the importance of the board working in teams of 4 on committee, and that what that really works like. And just like we've talked about before in these meetings, it works really well in every situation. In business, in school, teamwork really matters. So let's get this finalized so you can all go home and so can we. Is there a motion to, Okay, is there a motion to approve all the items listed on tonight's agenda via consent?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
I have something I'd like to say. Excuse me.
Is this discussion, and Amy, I might need your help here, is this discussion on an item on the consent agenda?
No.
Then this is not the appropriate time for this.
When will new business be? I'd like to raise a question.
That can happen after the board meeting, and when...
No, I'd like to ask a question here.
No, this is not the appropriate time. Absolutely not the appropriate time. We're following
I have some
Robert Rules of
concerns.
Order.
I have some concerns about what was
And
said.
I am moving forward.
This is the opportunity to vote on the consent agenda?
Yeah, this
Will there
And
be a
then-
new business portion of this evening? I'd like to raise a question. I have some concerns
This is
about what
not
was
the-
said
And then
in the
following-
executive session and
Let's
how we were
following
not
the
in
meeting,
violation of
bring up
sunshine on
new
March 16th.
business.
I have some concerns about what was discussed on March
Okay,
16th.
let's do this now. Let's finish this section. Then we will go to our legal team to ask a question on that. So, all in favor? Say that again.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Okay.
I just also want to add, that we have a person here that's got a non-agenda, a public comment that's been waiting
Thank you very much.
as
And
well. So just, I don't know when that discussion is going
We're
to happen.
going to save, if Abby has, if Board Member Rubin has brought up something on the Sunshine Act, let's save it to address it after we do the final non-agenda audience recognition. You have been extremely patient for multiple board meetings. Thank you so much. And let's remember, we center ourselves not around each other, but around our community. So audience recognition, non-agenda items, please, I would love to hear, just come up to the podium. You have 3 minutes, please, your name, general area where you live in the community.
Hello, I'm Janice Ferguson. I live in Bolly Kenwood. I'm a black parent who is standing here tonight because I believe I have experienced a troubling pattern of exclusion, retaliation, unequal treatment, and discrimination connected to the leadership environment fostered by the principal at Belmont Hills Elementary School. Instead of being welcomed and supported the way other parents appear to be, I often felt blocked and excluded, dismissed and isolated. Over time, the pattern became impossible to ignore. Eventually, because no one else wanted the position, I became co-president of HSA. I believe this would finally allow me to contribute equally and positively to the school community. Instead, the treatment intensified once I began asking questions about bylaws, governance, oversight, finances, and transparency. This included raising concerns about questionable financial transactions involving over $4,000 of HSA funds being sent to a teacher's personal Venmo account, with over $60,000 currently in the HSA bank accounts. I believe parents deserve transparency, accountability, and oversight regarding how their donations are being handled. Rather than serving as a neutral administrator focused on fairness and inclusion, I witnessed what appeared to be favoritism, selective involvement, and unequal treatment after I began raising concerns. I believe the admin used their position to influence in ways that escalated tensions rather than resolving them fairly. And I want to be clear, tonight, this was not simply HSA drama, not personality conflict. This was a repeated pattern that deeply affected me as a black woman in a predominantly white school environment. The most painful part is that the people who should have ensured fairness and inclusion are the same people I believe contributed to the harm. I'm speaking tonight because no black parent should experience discrimination in a school environment and then be left questioning how their child may be treated. I come to the school community wanting to help, volunteer, and support my child. Instead, I walk away emotionally exhausted, unsupported, and deeply disturbed by what I experienced. Tonight, I'm asking the board to take these concerns seriously. I'm asking for accountability, I'm asking for transparency, and I'm asking the district to honestly reflect on how Black parents and parents who challenge unfair systems are treated within the community. Because inclusion cannot be a slogan.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm asking for a 3-minute recess to speak with legal. Okay. Final piece is the Sunshine Act. Ms. Brooks will now make an announcement required by the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act.
In accordance with Act 93 of 1998, the Sunshine Law, the Board of School Directors met for an information executive session on May 18th, 2026, for information, for legal regarding ADA accessibility, and for trademark litigation.
Next meeting, June 15th, the regular business board meeting committee is the next meeting. The committee meetings will be held in the boardroom via webinar, live stream, unless noted otherwise. June 8th policy meeting is at 6 p.m. June 11th, facilities and purchasing meeting at 9 a.m. via Zoom. And we are adjourned, being there is no further business. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.